is off the আমি ঠিক করলাম turn your mic on your microphone করেছিলাম সব খোলা ছিল can you listen me
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. You are audible.
yes so let me start now
Okay, no problem, ma'am. Go ahead.
so good afternoon to you all
Good afternoon, ma'am.
and in today's class we shall start with the second block. As you know, the yesterday class, it was block 1 and the name of the block was Introducing Indian Culture. As you are now going to be acquainted with Indian culture, it is just like climbing a structure. We have only touched the first structure. In yesterday's class, I tried my best to give you a brief outline of Indian culture, the cultural heritage and tradition since the beginning of the civilization, that is Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization or Harappan culture, till the modern phase. So step by step, we now covered in yesterday. I am just refreshing your memory by giving some reference from yesterday's class. That is your first was our the point of discussion was Harappan culture, then was your Vedic civilization when the Indian culture now began to take a concrete shape. Then there was birth of two religions, Buddhism and Jainism. Then in the Christian era, by 4th century AD, we find out a very prominent dynasty in the annals of Indian history, that is Gupta dynasty, and their period of rule is called the classical age of Indian history because in various branches of culture, astronomy, astrology, science, literature, art, architecture, painting, there was tremendous development. And therefore, the Indian culture, which was in a formative stage in the ancient time of before Christian era, by 3rd and 4th century AD, it took a concrete shape. And so far as the topic your tourism is concerned, even till today, those who have their interest in heritage tourism and in historical visiting historical places, historical tourism, till today, those monuments belonging to those remote antiquity are there, and till now it attracts the tourists all over the world. Then in the medieval period, as I had pointed you earlier, the birth of Islam in 8th century AD in Central Asia and the establishment of Islam as a full-fledged religion. Now they are for 7th century, 8th century AD till 13th century AD for 500 years, there was repeated incursion, repeated invasion towards India. And by 1206, the Muslims, they now established, capturing the political power, they gave the foundation of Muslim rule. So the second page, the medieval page of Indian history, is dominated by the Muslim dominance in the form of Sultanate period and in the form of Mughal rule. And the Indian culture took a new shape coming in contact with Islam. So coming in contact with the Islamic architecture, art, painting, what we call Indo-Islamic architecture, there was influence on music, influence on dress, food, etc., etc. Then the modern period, what is generally branded as the colonial period, the English period, and by that time, again, there was the cultural assimilation. And this time, the cultural assimilation was Indo-European influence. So you will find out in various branches, in custom, rites, fairs, festivals, art, architecture, literature, you will find out the Western influence, the European influence. These are all the things what we had discussed in the previous class. So this is the first stepping stone. We have to climb to the top of the mountain. The mountain is the mountain of Indian culture. So step by step, after being introduced with Indian culture, we just covered or we had our stepping on the first step. The second will be the social structure. As you know, the society in general, Indian society and Indian culture, they are very much interrelated. And to get a holistic view of Indian culture, one must be acquainted with the social structure, the social setup. Since the inception, since the beginning of the civilization till today, because culture is a ever changing process, coming in contact with different types of external elements, a number of segments of culture, not the total culture, but few segments of culture, they get transformed. So, therefore, the next step will be on your part to be acquainted with the social structure of France. And when you will be acquainted with the social structure of France, you will enter into the realm of fine arts, or you will enter into an artistic domain of Indian culture, and it includes the dance, music, painting. So all the finer aspects of art you will cover, and then you will have your idea on the performing art, that is popular culture, the Indian theatre, Indian cinema, etc. And another step will be the architecture. So the Indian architecture, the regional architecture, the local architecture, the division of the architecture and their functional categories, then the sculptural representations on these architectures will draw your attention, because these are also the other important characteristics, very interesting features of Indian architecture. And in your block 7, which will be another step to know Indian culture, will be archaeology and antiquity. We will have to visit different types of archaeological sites. Again, what I had taught you in yesterday's class, the archaeological sites of Indus Valley civilization, the archaeological sites of the Gupta period, the archaeological sites, how the ruler Ashok, he now tried to use of stone in the architecture. So all those things, definitely they are very important from tourist standpoint. And you will also be acquainted with various Indian museums where the things of remote antiquity, it has been preserved for you people, means for the next generation, for the gen next. The block 7 unit, which is regarded as another important unit, another important block, it deals with the handicraft, continuity and change. So the handicraft, Indian handicraft in general, and this handicraft, it may include the handicraft of clay, handicraft of stone, handicraft of wood, metal crafts, ivory, coral, gems, jewelry, textile, then costumes, a lot of things, they come under the category of handicraft. So you will have to cover handicraft, its continuity and change. How from very ancient time till today, in various forms, they are there, but every time they are trying to change the pattern, keeping in view the demands of the customer. The fascinating unit, and another fascinating aspect of Indian culture is tribal culture. It constitutes an important segment of Indian culture, and that is included in your block 8. The last unit will be the policy issues in culture. So what are the policies of the government, the media, the trade? So the marketing aspect that will also come under purview, the public, how the role of visual media, print media, audio media, they are trying their role to very key role they are playing in the so far as the their role in Indian culture for perfect perspective of tourism it is concerned. And what are the related policy of the government in this connection? So now this is the brief analysis of all your blocks. And out of all these blocks, in today's class, we shall exclusively devote ourselves to have an idea, to make an discussion, to make an interaction. I want to make interaction with you also, because as I had pointed you earlier, that you are all outsiders. You do not have much idea on Indian society, Indian social structure, the social groups. You do not have much of idea. But from because you have enrolled in this course, it is very much essential. You must be acquainted with these types of aspects. Therefore, the social structure, and you know, the block consists of 4 units. You have total 31 units. We have covered only 4 in yesterday's class, and in today's class, I have my target to complete the another 4 unit. The unit 5, which I am going to start in today's class, is socio-historical perspective, that is part 1. Socio-historical perspective, part 1, that is in unit 6. The unit 7, it includes the customs, rites, rituals, the various cults, which are the component units of Indian culture. And the last unit for this paper is your 8th unit, and it deals with the various fairs and festivals. So it deals with various fairs and festivals. Then we are going to start with the first unit of this paper, socio-historical perspective. If you will open your book, you will find out the first step is the objective, then introduction. The third is your Indian society through Vedic age. You may ask me a question that, Madam, in yesterday's class, you started with the Indus Valley civilization or Harappan culture. You may call it in any name, either Indus Valley civilization or Harappan culture. If that is the starting point, so why will you start from Indian society during Vedic period? Yes, I am going you to clarify your inquisitiveness that the starting point of Indian history, that is your Harappan culture. But one problem is there. The problem is this, that from a number of seals and from a number of equipments, we find out the Harappan form of writing. So Harappan scripts, Harappan inscriptions are available. But unfortunately, the scholars, they have deciphered. I have deciphered it in one manner. Another scholar has read out the script in another manner. So various scholars have read out the scripts of the Harappan civilization in various manners. So there is no uniformity. So because there is no uniformity among the scholars as to the script of the as to the reading of the script of the Harappan culture, so naturally we do not take into account till the date. We do not discuss what, because if I shall discuss on the matter, I will support the view of one and another will immediately charge me, why are you not accepting my view? So because of the lack of unanimity among the scholars, there is no unanimity among the scholars, therefore we cannot describe the subject matter of the Harappan script. Whereas The next civilization which flourished on the Indian subcontinent was your Vedic civilization. And Vedic civilization is one step ahead in this category. Why one step ahead? Because we have at our disposal the written record of Vedas. I had told you in earlier class that the civilization is called Vedic civilization. Why it is called Vedic civilization? Because our primary source of information for this civilization is Veda. Veda is collection of four books. Veda is divided into four parts: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sham Veda, Atharva Veda. And as A.B. Keith had pointed out, that this is the earliest exposition of human knowledge. Vedic study itself, it constitutes a separate branch of study. And because Vedas are available, we can get a very clear-cut picture of Vedic society, politics, religion, culture, everything we get in a very, very vivid form. So because Vedas are available, and another thing I must tell you, that this Harappan culture, which had its beginning almost 5,000 years back, it passed through three phases, as the archaeologists point out. The earlier phase, it was not so much developed. The matured Harappan phase, when the civilization was very much developed and it reached the pinnacle of its success. And then we find out the law of history is there. As the student of history, you must know that there is a law of continuity. A thing which has its rise has its fall. But between that rise and fall, you have to pass through various stages: rise, growth, continuity. Then you will reach the peak. Then you will come down. Afternoon, what we call afternoon, will come, and the sunset and ultimate decline will come. Like the rising sun, then we will find out midday sun, after pre-noon and afternoon sun, then the setting sun. So Harappan culture, towards the last phase, towards the later phase, we find out many more writings, inscriptions are available, but the Vedic civilization, we don't have any sharp distinction line. Generally, it is fixed that Vedic civilization, the period of Vedic civilization was from 1500 before Christian era to 600 before Christian era. So, the declining phase of Harappan civilization and the rise of Harappan culture, it is a transitional phase. And another important thing, Harappan culture was an indigenous civilization, and so far as Vedic civilization is concerned, the Vedic civilization was started by the Aryans. And there is a lot of controversy among the scholars as to the Aryans, whether they were the people of the soil or they migrated from Central Asia, are yet to be decided. But one thing is clear, that they were very learned people, and because they were very learned people, they were men of intellect. They had their love for learning and culture. As I pointed you earlier, their motto of life was simple living and high thinking. So leading a very simple life amidst the lap of nature, they now has given to the world the most glorious contribution in the form of Vedas. So the Vedas portrays the contemporary Indian social structure in a much vivid manner. The foundation of Indian civilization, which the Indian foundation of Indian culture, the Indian culture, its foundation was given during the time of this Vedic civilization, which has taken the form of a very big tree now, with its branches spreading not only in India alone, but influencing the various parts of the world. So therefore, our point of discussion, Indian society during Vedic age, then post-Vedic society, Gupta and pre-Gupta society, the medieval period. So under these headings, we shall discuss about the social structure of India. And so far as Vedic civilization is concerned, it is divided into two parts. As I told you, Veda is divided into four categories. The earliest and the oldest Veda is Rig Veda. And this Rig Veda, it continued to be written for a longer length of time, and that is called the Rig Vedic period or early Vedic period. So the second name for early Vedic period is Rig Vedic period. And the other three Vedas, they were written much later. Because they were written much later, that page, generally from 900 or 1000 before Christian era to 6000 before Christian era, the three other Vedas, they were written, the Rig, Yaju, and Sam and Atharva Veda. Now we find out that during the early Vedic period, the social institutions, during this period, social institution now began to emerge during the Vedic period, which began to take a concrete shape in subsequent years. In Rig Veda, when we follow the pages of the Rig Veda, you will find out that by that time in Rig Veda, there was what you will find out? No, the people were first in settled people, and their chief occupation was pastoralism. So pastoralism was their chief occupation. And when these Aryans, they now began to settle down, they now came in contact with the local people whom they called as the non-Aryans, or we find out and the non-Aryans, they were pastoral, and by that time, your cattle, goats, sheep, they were regarded as property. So they began to be in conflict with the non-Aryans, and they captured their property. So when they captured their property, we find out a distinction. They now treated the non-Aryans as the dasas or as the servants, and they were all Aryans. And after being settled down, the Vedic civilization, the Aryan civilization, it mainly spread over northern India. When it spread over northern India and gradually they now begin to settle down, we find out that the family, it now began to take a shape. So household family, it now began to take a shape. You know that man is a social animal. Man cannot live without society. You can live, but you will not. That will not be if alone inside the forest or inside the hilltop. I may survive with food, but I cannot lead a true life of a human being. But in Vedic age, when they lived in a particular place, gradually society began to develop. And when society began to develop, gradually, depending on the various types of occupation, culture, etc., a division in the society came into existence. The first division was on Varna, that is called the Varna system of Indian society. Varna means culture. The Aryans were fair complexioned, and the non-Aryans, they were dark skinned. So basing on the Varna, there was the division in the society, Aryan and the non-Aryan. Then we find out that the division came on basing your occupation. If I am with farming, so I am a farmer. And if another fellow, he is busy with trading, he is a trader. So the division of the society was based on occupation. But again, You see, with the march of time, when human being is becoming more and more advanced, the social system, the social structure, it is also getting more and more complicated. So the Varna, then the division of the society first on Varna, then that division became more extensive, basing on occupation. First it was only two divisions, then it became more divided group with your various types of occupations, and then we find out that gradually rigidity, conservatism, it now prevailed, and the division in the society, what is called as caste system. Now, I must tell you a unique feature of Indian society, social structure is caste system. And then it became hereditary depending upon your birth. So your caste will be decided, your caste will be determined basing on your birth. So we find out that four major castes are very much found out during the later Vedic age, what is called as the Brahman, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, the Shudra. What does it mean? The first and the uppermost section of the society, they are will be called as Brahmana, means they are the priestly class, the intellectual class. They are associated with worship of gods and goddesses, devotional activities, compiling the scriptures, etc. So naturally, in the social ladder, they were in high position. The second was the Kshatriya class. The Kshatriya class, it was their duty to what we find out? Their duty, the warrior class, that they will, by the time other outside elements, they were trying, when they will try to enter into your society, it will be their duty to fight against them and to bring and give protection to the people of the society, the Kshatriya, the warrior community, the second in the line. The third was the Vaishya, the business group, those who will carry on internal trade and commerce, external trade and commerce, the business activities within the society, outside the society, they are the Vaishya, the business group. And the last one is the Shudra. He has got no particular function, but the function is only to serve the first three castes in the society. So the duty of a Shudra, the lower caste in the society, had not been assigned any other specific duty or responsibility, and his only duty was to serve the first three category, that is the Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. So my point is, first was Varna. The division of society was based on Varna. Then it came to occupation, division of society on occupational basis. It increased the division, and then came the division of the society based on birth. So being born in a Brahmin family means I am a Brahmin. Being born in a Shudra family means I am a Shudra. So here not the occupation, not my color of the skin or my complexion will be taken into account, only my birth. So birth will be the only criteria to decide the caste in a Indian society. And again, unfortunately, this out of these four major castes, when we look at the social structure in the post-Vedic period, we find out that from this caste system, four main caste, there were the emergence of a number of sub-castes. So, in the place of four main castes, a number of sub-castes, they began to develop, and what happened? Now, the Shudra class, from the Shudra community, Shudra class, another group, the group of untouchables, the group of slaves, they came into existence. So the worst sufferer in this category was the Sudra class in the society, the Sudra caste in the society, and it is told, it has been described in the Vedas that the Brahmans originated from the supreme soul, from the head of the supreme soul. The Kshatriyas originated from the hand of the supreme soul, and the Vaishyas originated from the thigh of the supreme soul, and the Sudras originated from the feet of the supreme soul. So you can very well know the position of each caste. One who has come from head, he is the first. Who has come from the shoulder or hand, he is the second in the category. Whose origin is from the thigh of the supreme soul, he is in the third. And the category which comes from the category of a feet, he is the lowest one. And the lowest one being the worst sufferer in the sense that in course of time, when rigidity, conservatism, it now came to influence the social structure, a group arose untouchables. We shall not touch a group. They will be called as untouchable. Their caste is untouchable. And again we find out the slave community, they also came into existence. And again what we find out, I had told you that Hindu religion, it was in originative form. Hindu religion first began to take slight shape during the time of Harappan civilization. And in Vedic civilization, a proper sketchwork was done that this will be the frame of the Hindu civilization, Hindu religion. And during the time 4th century AD, when the rulers belonging to Gupta dynasty, they now ascended the Indian, or they captured the Indian political power, we find out that these Guptas, their period is called classical age of Indian history, the Indian society. It take you to begin a further division, the rules related to the governing Hindus that came into existence. We find out the various scriptures of Hindu religion, they took a concrete shape. I told you it is the classical age of Indian history, and Hindu religion, there is no proper timing that this is the age when Hindu religion was established. It is a gradual evolutionary process, and by 4th century AD, Hinduism as a full-fledged religion had got itself established in the religious sky of not only in India but also of the entire world. And it was by that time, when we look at the Hindu social structure, the multiplicity of caste and subcaste, so the caste division, further division, subdivision, subdivision. So much of division had occurred in the Hindu social structure. So that is called as the caste system, what you do not find out in any other society in such a massive scale. You will find out the division in the society, but this typical caste system, the touchable, the untouchables, and then the various subcastes, etc. So the social structure of India had undergone a lot of changes, though the social structure began to take a shape. And so far as the from when there is society, there will be family. Family is there, and in the family we'll find out with the change in the social structure. In Vedic religion, at least the higher class women, they were enjoying some freedom, but gradually with the division of society, we fed into a the liberal attitude was shown to the women in the Vedic age, gradually underwent severe changes with the march of time, and by medieval time you will see the bright aspect of the women's status was no more. Gender inequality became prominent, and it became further in the medieval period. I am not going to that aspect, but my point of discussion is this. Though the Gupta age is called the classical age of Indian history, the social structure of India, it undergone very rapid changes, and we find out the multiplicity of caste and subcaste and the emergence of the law codes related to the Hindu religion and different types of caste it came into existence. Then the next page is the medieval period. As I told you, the Muslims, they now acquired the political authority. And with the arrival of the Muslims, further changes came in the Hindu and the Muslim castes. The Hindus, they came in contact with the Muslims. The Muslims, they came in contact with the Hindus. So what we find out a very important caste now arose during this time, the writer caste. So that is called the Kayastha caste. That means thus, and other subcastes are there, but this Kayastha caste is especially, they have drawn the attention because they were the writers community in the administration, whatever you will see, they will be in charge of writing. By the time there was no digitization, so naturally they had to write all these things, not any type machine. And again, coming with the Muslims, we find out the division Sheikh, Shayad, Mughal, Pathan. There is division in Islam, but not so much of rigidity is there. There is again on the basis of your religion, your Sheikh and Sunnis are there. But as I pointed you earlier, the social structure in the medieval period, it now became further complicated. And another group, the lower we find out in the Muslim category, the Darwesh, the Pir, the Fakir, they now came into existence. The whole thing is this, that gradually, and another important thing, the land purchased by the community, certain important in the social structure, not only caste was there, one who has got more of lands, more of agricultural units, naturally they became more powerful, and they, in course of time also, they now got themselves placed in the higher caste. And coming to the colonial and post-colonial period, what happened? Again, with the establishment of colonial rule, we find out that again the Christians, they came. If the Muslims entered India through northwestern portion by land, the Christians, they by discovering sea route, they entered India. The last state of India in extreme south is Kerala. Kerala is the name of a state with its capital at Thiruvananthapuram. So they now entered through Kerala. So you will find out in the northwestern portion of India, Muslim population, there was the conversion process. So the Indian, the Hindus gradually coming, they were either forcefully converted or by their own sweet will they converted. That is separate issue. But we find out the presence of Muslim population, and in the south we find out the emergence of the Christianity. So a lot of people, they will find out the presence of Christians in South India, and in North India will find out the more presence of the Muslim population. And in between, there are the Buddhist and the Jainas, because Buddhism and Jainism, they originated from India, and it was during the Bhakti movement period, Nanak was a religious preacher, and his teachings in subsequent years took the form of a separate religion that is called Sikhism. So you see, all the major religions of the world, they made their presence in India. Hinduism was there, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism came later on. Islam and that of Christianity, they made their presence in India. So now our point of discussion will be the concept of the caste and caste. So when we come to the point of caste system in the Indian society, as I told you that the caste system caste is a closed group in a closed social group. We belong to this caste, so we are a social group. He belongs to another caste, they will form their own social group. And from this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, we find out that different subcastes came. And now we find out that they are now the life of a Hindu, especially for a life of a Hindu, the life was divided into 4 stages called Chaturasrama or Varnasrama. What is that? The average longevity was fixed at 100 years. A man will survive for 100 years. The first part is the Brahmacharya Srama, from your birth till 25 years of your life. You will lead the life of a brahmachari. Brahmachari means almost like a student career. So that is the student career of your life when you will learn and learn. The period to have proper education, you will live with your teacher or guru, and you will learn a lot of things from your teacher. And the most important thing, that you will learn to live like a proper human being in true sense of the term, besides your academic pursuit in your holy books, holy scriptures, etc., etc. The second is the marriage stage, when you will lead the life of a married man, that is called Grihastha Ashram. That means the stage of a married household. You will come back 25 to 50. So the coming 50 years will be the life of your married life with your wife, with your children, and you will have a family life. And after 50, you will enter into the third stage of your life, what is called the Vanapasthasrama, means the stage to live or to have a detachment. You will go to the forests, if not the forest, but detachment, gradual detachment from family and gradual inclination towards spiritualism. And the fourth stage is sannyasa stage, the total renunciation of your household life, your family attachment, everything. From 75 to 100 years, you will lead the life of a sage, life of a saint, making spending your time with spiritual discussion, spiritual activities. So you see how the social rules and regulations were fixed. And mind it, the 4 stage they had their 4 attainment. The final release of absolute knowledge: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma means religion, artha means dharma, you will acquire the idea of dharma, brahmacharya. Then artha, you will earn money in your grihastha stage or married stage. All your desires will be fulfilled. Then ultimately detachment will come. Then, so this was the Varnasrama or the Chaturasrama of Indian social structure in early age. Coming to the Muslims, as I pointed out, they are where the Shias and the Sunnis. And again, we find out that two major sections, those who claim they are descendants from the early Muslim immigrants, they are Ashraf, and those of indigenous origin whose ancestors were converted to Islam, they were Rajil. So one is cleaned caste, another is your uncleaned caste. And the higher caste Asraf, they have four categories: the Sheikh, the Sayyad, the Sheikh, the Mughal, the Pathan. The Sayyad are considered to be the direct descendant from Fatima's line. She was daughter of Prophet Muhammad. The second rank was your Sheikh. They are considered to be the descendants of the early Muslim migrants from Makkah and Medina. The Pathans are those who migrated to India from Pakistan and from other areas of Central Asia. Pathan. Sheikh Sayed, Sheikh, no, first Sayed, Sheikh, and Pathan. And the Mughals, we find out, the Mughals and the Pathans, they are subdivisions of the Ashraf rank. Ashraf means the convert rank. Anyhow, I'm not, you know all these things. Now, the caste among the Christians, as I pointed you earlier, that the Christians landed in Kerala. The Syrian Christians are believed to be the ancestors of the present Christianity in Kerala, whose ancestors were Brahmin. As you know, that Saint Thomas, one of the close followers of Jesus Christ, had come to Kerala in 52 Christian era, first century Christian era he had come, and naturally because he had come there was some conversion, and the Syrian Christians, they claim themselves to be higher because our ancestors were converted to Christianity by Saint Thomas, a close follower and friend of the founder of the religion, Jesus Christ. So we find out, and besides that, you know, the division is there: Catholic Christians and the Protestant Christians. And those who believe in the authority of the Pope, they are Catholics, and those who believe directly with the authority of Bible, they are Protestants. And coming in contact with the impact of colonial rule, we find out a lot of changes now came in the social structure. In the yesterday's class, I had told you that the Europeans who now came to India, they were very advanced and modern, because the Europeans, they had already in Europe, modern age had started. And the Englishmen who became the political master of India, naturally, they had advanced modern type of thinking, then scientific thinking, etc. So they, becoming the master of India, they introduced a number of modern techniques in industrial revolution. For example, the railway lines were established. In 1853, they for the first time established railways, telegraphs, etc., etc. And the Indians, being acquainted with Western education, they were thoroughly disgusted with the present Indian social structure. The contemporary social structure during the time of colonial rule, it now presented a very conservative structure, rigid structure, multiplicity of caste, subcaste, untouchables, etc. Number of caste system had become very uneven growth of the social structure. And in this background, two more classes, not caste, they joined their hand. The newly created elite class, those groups who Can you listen me?
Yes, we are listening.
Can you listen me?
Yes, you
Yes.
are audible, ma'am.
Let me start. So we find out that
Yes,
the
we can
two
hear you.
groups, yes, two groups, they now came. Thank you. Two groups, the newly created educated group, those who received English education, European education, they now thought themselves to be a separate social group, and the landowner class. The landowner class, they now thought themselves to be another. They were rich group having at their disposal much of land, because during the time of colonial rule, a jamindar class who were the owners of the land, they created the revenue policy in such a way a group came into existence. So we find out the rich community of jamindars and the newly educated class, they came into the social structure. And another group in your block 8, you will see the tribal culture. They were very underdeveloped group, and the untouchables, the Sudra community in the social group, they also did not receive much of attention. So under Jyotirao Phule, Govind Rao, we find out that what happened, there will be another group of the depressed class in the society. So you see that in the colonial regime, during the time of a British rule in India, the Indian society, how in different, my point of discussion is to give you the idea that in different points of time, how Indian society has undergone different changes, coming in contact with the contemporary social system. The Indian society has undergone several changes, and the social structure, what was there, it is gradually lost. The society which was based on equality, based on occupation of division on the basis of occupation, that was lost. The caste system, a very negative aspect of Indian society, it came into existence. And then at the present setup, you will find out various groups, backward community, the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes, the backward community, economically backward community, the minority community. So different types you will find out, a very complex social structure at present. And what is its relevance to tourism? When we are trying to find out its relevance to tourism, when you are visiting some places, naturally, the researcher will be very much interested. One who wants to know about the social surrounding, you must be first acquainted with the social structure. So society is very important, because our culture and society, they are interlinked. Culture flourishes if there is support from society. Without the support of the society, without the support of the members of the society, the culture cannot thrive. The culture cannot thrive for such a long time. I pointed out you in the earlier class that one of the uniqueness of Indian culture is its continuity. That till today, right from Harappan culture till today, the Indian culture, like a perennial stream, it is in the flowing form. It is continuing with very minor changes, whereas the fundamental structure remaining the same, there are some minor changes. You will find out, or you will observe, to meet the demands of time. Otherwise, the fundamental structure is remaining the same. So the social structure is very much closely, as you know, pointed you earlier, that man is a social animal. We live in a society. Without society, our existence gets meaningless because anybody has raised hand. Any question you want to put? I find out. Any question? Somebody raised hand and it was on the screen. No. Anyhow, so now let me come to the next important thing, the custom, rituals, and the calls. The thing is this, that when we are reading about the social structure, the society in general, a society must be within the ritual. Certain customs must be there because these are the strings which bind a society. A society gets bind by custom, rituals, and what are the functions of the rituals, the ceremonies, and the different types of rites, etc. So now our third step of discussion in this class will be the various types of customs, to make a discussion about the various types of customs and rituals. For example, you see, it differs, customs and rituals, it now differs from community to community. In many community, you find out that people, when they come across with an elderly people, they touch the feet. That is the social norm. The younger one will touch the feet of the elder one, that is the social norm in many of the communities. The married women, they put a vermilion mark on the forehead. Many people, when they meet, they now shake their hand. This is another type of custom. And in many Hindu communities, at the time of marriage, both the bride and the groom are supposed to move round the fire for 7 times. In maximum men of Hindu marriages, to move round the fire for 7 times, it is there. My point is this, that in many communities, in different communities, there are different types of rituals, but the major fundamental things are there which do not get changed. What it helps, what is the role of this ritual? The role of this ritual is a socialization process. They bring the individual within the defined society and integrate them. What are the role of these customs and rituals? Now they bring the members of the society to a definite limit. This is the limit. Within this limit, you must function like this, and these work as an integrating factor. Then the social control, the rituals, the customs, the ceremonies, they act as the instrument of social control. So we find out, to some extent, the society in a controlled form, in a disciplined form, in a systematic form, they can move with these type of social control. And again, we find out that certain rituals are performed to have a specific identity. So we perform certain rituals, so which will have our own identification mark, like the putting vermilion on the forehead means I am a married lady. Then the system, what is there? Now the performance of customs and rituals is closely linked with people's desire to achieve spiritual satisfaction. If you abide by the norms of your own customs and the rituals, automatically in your heart of hearts, you will get what you will get? A spiritual satisfaction. And what are the now? Let me brief in this category. So these are the merits or the Role of the rituals, customs, and ceremonies, we find out that what are their role to have a process of socialization, to have social control, a spiritual advancement, and an identification mark in certain cases. Now we will see the different types of rituals and the customs. Generally, coming to different types of rituals and customs, they are related to birth, marriage, and death, and in some cases, initiation into religious faith. In any type of religion, major religion of the world, you will find out that birth, death, and marriage, the three important aspects of a human life. When we take our birth, it is an important aspect of my life, but by that time I am not that much of matured enough to perceive my birth. Others perceive it as an important event. And about my death, I can know my death is approaching, but when I shall die, I will know nothing. But marriage is one thing which at least I can experience. But still then, these three events, they in a human being life are the three important, separate, important chapters. And you will find out in almost all the religions, there are rituals and customs related, maybe Hinduism, maybe Islam, maybe Christianity, maybe Buddhism. I am being reminded of one. I must tell you that when Buddha, Lord Buddha, was in his mother's womb, his mother, Mayadevi, she had dreamt certain dreams which was indicative that the baby who is there within her womb will be destined or is destined to be a great man. So there were some previous signs for the birth of Buddha. So in almost all the religions, we find out the presence of rituals and customs related to birth. Then marriage. Every religion had their own system of marriage, own rituals of marriage, and we are bound to follow, even if we make any contact marriage or marriage, registry marriage, then also we try to follow the ritualistic side, which to the religion to which the bride and the groom they belong. Then the death is there. Every religion has got their death rituals. It may be different, but the purpose is always one and the same, to give respect to the departed soul and to pray before Almighty that may his soul rest in peace in the other world. The another important thing, initiation into religious faith. This particular practice is not there in almost all the religions. It is there in Christianity, baptism is there. In other religions, they are there. So certain rituals are followed. Certain rituals they are followed to when one is inducted to a other religious faith. Then this we find out that birth and childhood as another important thing related to birth, we have some puja or worship, etc. And the very anna prasanna, the first eating of cereals, the first eating of cereals, what is known as anna prasanna by the child, is also an occasion which is associated closely with the birth of that particular child. After 6 months and after 7 months, this ceremony is performed and it has got a close association. Now, as you know, that even the Sikhs in Sikhism, in Muslim, among the Muslims, there is prayer called Namaz-e Janaza, the prayer for the dead body. The prayer for the deceased person, it is there. Among the Sikhs, the birth of Guru Granth Sahib, it takes place. And so far marriage is concerned, all the religions, because marriage is a very auspicious institution. So this institution should be treated with utmost of respect and utmost of dignity. So that we also find out. Besides that, we find out another ritual is there mainly when you are entering into a new house. Maybe you have constructed that, or any house when you are entering, we find out that is called the Griha Pravesh, entering of the house. Some rituals are there. In various functions, we find out various types of rituals. So the point of discussion is this, that the rituals, customs, they are all associated in all the religions, but the forms are different, and these are also serve as our identity. The follow of custom, ritual, rites, they now mark our identity that we belong to this social group. One subheading is there in your course, that is your cult. And this type of cult you will mainly find out in Hindu religion. The cult is, suppose there is in ISKCON. You must have heard about ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. So popularly known as Hare Krishna cult, this movement is more famous internationally, particularly in the English-speaking countries like United States, Canada, United Kingdom, and it was founded in 1965 by Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada in the year 1965. He attracted many followers from New York, Los Angeles, Berkeley, Boston, Montreal. Various centers of ISKCON were established not only outside but also in various parts of India, where the chanting of the name of Lord Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, that means we are praying you Krishna. The central figure of this movement is Krishna. So this is a very important cult in India and outside world. Then Satyashai cult, a great religious person, say Satya Sai Baba, he had his cult, and besides this, in Muslims you will find out the Wahhabis and the Baha'is. The Wahhabi cult and the Baha'i cult, that is also there. And in Hinduism proper, depending on the name of the religious preceptor, the Kabir Panthis, Chaitanya Panthis, means the Guru is Chita. Guru means teacher. The teacher is Ramananda, followers are called Ramanandis. The teacher is Kabir, the followers are called Kabir Panthis. The teacher is Vallabhacharya, the followers are called Vallabhacharya Sampradaya community. The teacher is Radhas, the Radha Vallavis, etc. So the teacher is Chaitanya, the followers are called the Vaishnavas, Chaitanya Vaishnavas, and also in Saiva sect, especially in Hinduism, you will find out various subsects, the Vaishnava sect, the Saiva sect, then Aghori Panth, the Sakta Sampradaya, etc., etc. So my point is this, that as I had told you in yesterday's class, that it is a multilingual Indian culture presents a multilingual, multi-religious scene. Language, so many languages. Man language, constitution has given recognition to 18 languages. There are many more dialects. Similarly, we find out besides this religion, among these religions, you will find out the presence of various subsects, both in Hinduism, in Muslim, among the Sikhs also, the Nirankaris, the Radha Swamis, and the Namdharis. These are the various sects among the Sikhs. Among the Buddhists also, those who are followers of Buddha, the sects are there, the Hinayana, the Mahayana, the Vajrayana, Kalachakrayana, Sahajayana. These are the different sects of Buddhism. The Jaina sect, As you know, they have the two division, the Shvetambara sect and that of the Digambara sect. My point is this, that when you are talking of Indian, we are reading of Indian culture and we are reading it from the perspective of a tourist. When you are visiting any place, you will find out the mention of what is Namdhari Sikh. Namdhari is a sect of Sikhism. What is this ISKCON temple? ISKCON is a sect. ISKCON is a sect and it is mainly popular in the international sphere, in the international level. So, my focus of discussion had already covered the three important points: the social structure, the customs, the rites, and that of your various types of rituals. The last part of our discussion in today's class will be the various fairs and festivals. They also constitute another important social aspect. So, fairs and festivals, they also constitute a very important aspect. And what is that? The various types of fairs and festivals. And these fairs and festivals, they have got their special effect so far as tourism is concerned. As I had told you earlier, that these fairs and festivals, they are of different types. Some are national in character, some are regional in character, while others are local festivals. And besides that, some are Hindu festivals, some are Muslim festivals, and some are Christian festival or the Buddhist festivals. Jain festivals also there. So basing on religion, festivals are different. Basing on the region, festivals are different. Basing on the locality, the fairs and festivals are different. Coming only the national festival, they are the traditional Indian festivals are the socio-religious festival. And mind it, the festivals, fairs and festivals are the heart of socio-cultural milieu. So Indian socio-cultural milieu, if it is perceived in the form of a human being, form of a living being, its heart is festivals. And now, most of these specific festivals of the Hindus, first have a discussion on the Hindu festival, they are seasonal by nature. So, as you know, all the seasonal festivals are celebrated during two harvesting seasons. One is Kharif season between August and October, another is Rabi between March and April. So we find out that between these eight timing, we have the celebration of maximum of fairs and festivals. Let me tell you the Indian festivals which are celebrated all over India. And first is your, what is that? The Holi. First, we find out the Holi, Onam, Navratra, Dasera, Braj, etc. These are the Braj festival, means the Jhulan, etc. They are observed all over India. The first thing is your Makar Sankranti in the month of 14th January, generally called as in south as Pongal, and kite flying. You find all over India, this day is when the sun stops his movement from the northern side and comes towards south. We call it the movement of Uttarayan. The Makar Sankranti on 14th January, it starts and it is called as Onam. Bihu. Bihu is a festival. It is not a national festival. It is a specific of Assam. So specific of Assam, the cultural significance of Bihu in Assam. So Assam festival is, we find out this Bihu festival is a local festival, but it has its very much importance. So Bihu festival, it is in Assam and it is a local regional festival and different types of local performances you will find out in Bihu festival. On from 21st of October to 24th of October for 4 days, there will be the celebration of Durga Puja and Dasera. So Durga Puja and Dasera, Vijaya Dashami is celebrated on Dasera, and for 9 days we will find out the image is worshipped and it is very much popular in Western India. There is a state in India that is called Bengal, West Bengal, and very recently in the last year, the UNESCO has awarded the heritage status to the Durga Puja of Bengal. So lavishly they get themselves emotionally attached to this puja, their dedication, their devotion, the performing arts related to this puja. Only in last near past, it has been declared as a heritage festival. So the Muslim, and as I told you, Dashera mainly celebrated on last day, and this year that will be on 24th of October, Dashera festival, and it is the festival of victory of good over the evil. So Dasara, and mind it, tourists are very much interested to visit this Dasara. Dasara in Gwalior, Kulu, Manali, Dasara in Mysore. They have their own specific significance. Another is Holi, the festival of color celebrated in the spring season, the festival of color, and it is an all India festival. Everybody here also, there is called the burning of Holika, means burning of the evil and the victory of the over good. Besides this all India Hindu festivals, we have the Muslim festival of Eid, Muharram, Miladun Nabi, and you know the namas are written. Then iftar party, people organize iftar. When in India, from the very start of the pious month of Ramjan, we find out festivities are organized. People organize huge iftar parties. Sometimes such parties are organized by their Hindus also, and at times Hindus also join the iftar parties of the Muslim Brotherhood. So you see, it now ushers a feeling of fraternity, a feeling of brotherhood, and the tourists also come, they enjoy, they see that how there is the communal harmony and the huge Eid Melas. We find out the organization of the very huge Eid Melas in different parts in various places. And we find out the Tajia procession. Tajias are taken out on the 10th day throughout the India. Tajia, Majlis, etc. They are associated with the Islamic celebration. Buddha Purnima. Buddha Purnima is exclusively celebrated as the Purnima of the Hindus. Vaishakhi Purnima, as you know, Buddha was born. Buddha was born, and also this Purnima is very much, Purnima means full moon night, is very much associated to the Buddhists. Not only the Buddhists, the people of the other religion, the Hindus have also their great reverence to this Buddha Purnima. My point is this multi-religious country, the culture being multi-religious, the social structure being a multiplicated one, we find out that these are all. Another important thing, the Raksha Bandhan, there is a festival, the All India festival, Raksha Bandhan, when the sister used to tie a piece of string on the wrist of the brother, wishing him and praying for his long life. So this festival is exclusively limited to brother and the sister, where sister now ties a string in the wrist of the brother. You see, a very good precedent, the sibling affection among them, and the praying for the long life of the brother, we find out here. This is another important, very interesting, fascinating aspect of Indian culture. So you see, my dear students, when I am discussing about these major festivals, now let me come to the Eid ul Fitr, another important thing, Diwali. Diwali after Dasara, 15 days after 24th November, then 29th, 50, almost in the mid of November, you will find out the Diwali, the festival of light. Even the Muslims, they now light their house. It is the festival of light. So they light their house, they decorate their house, and it is believed if everything will be lighted for the bright aspect of life will definitely dazzle in. Then Christmas, Good Friday, Easter, these are the festivals related to the Christians. So the Christians have their Christmas Day, the birth anniversary of Jesus, is celebrated by the Christians in India amidst singing of carols, exchange of gifts, feasting, etc., etc. Then Good Friday is there, and that is a holiday, as you know, government holiday. Easter is there. Nowruz, the Parsis, the Zoroastrians, it is a Parsi festival, and it is believed that King Jamshed ruled Persia from to this date. They worship at Parsi fire temples. As you know, the Parsis, their religious place is fire temple. So the Parsis festival, they worship at fire temple, and Buddha Jayanti, as I told you. So these are some of the important festivals of India. Besides these festivals, as I pointed you out, that these festivals are the heart of Indian socio-cultural milieu. Let me come to the last part of my lecture. The last part is on the fairs of India. The fairs are on very big scale. The fairs are all big scale, and it is expected mainly to the religious aspect of Indian life. So we find out the fairs mainly. I will focus you on the Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela, it is unique in the respect that it does not exhibit the feature associated with a traditional fair. So the traditional fair, the idea what you have about a traditional Indian fair, it is not associated with that. It is basically a religious congregation which is held once in every 12 years. Mahakumbh Mela at one of the four places. What are the four places? Prayagraj, Ujjaini, Nashik, and Haridwar in turn. So Kumbh Mela, it is a mela, or it is a fair worth to be visited, because the tourists, so much of gathering of people, they will take their bath in the nearby river, and it is believed by taking their bath, naturally you will at least be in a position, some of your sins will be washed. That is the belief. And we find out that this Kumbh Mela in four important parts in 12 years, and then half Kumbh Mela in every 6 years. Ardha Kumbh Mela is also celebrated according to mythology, when the gods and the demons, they were in fighting. Many priceless things it came. I am not even do not know that story of Indian mythology, the churning of the sea. Anyhow, Kumbh Mela, I am not going to give you the details, but it is one of the biggest fairs in India. The famous Pushkar Mela is held on the full moon day in October, November month. Devotees gather round Pushkar Lake and take a ceremonious bath in it, Pushkar. It is one of the holy places and is possessed to have the only temple of Brahma is worshipped there. Brahma is regarded as the creator of the universe in Hindu religion. According to the legend, Brahma was in charge of a suitable place, was searching for a suitable place where he will perform his sacrifice, yajna or sacrifice, and he choiced this place, and there the Pushkar Mela, it is celebrated. And there is a very famous cattle market, cattle fair is organized there, which is a very important attraction for the tourists. Besides this, we find out in various non-religious fair, Salyana in Palampur, Sonpur Mela in Bihar, Mukteswar fair, few miles away from Delhi, different places they are now organizing their fairs. And the Muslims, the unique tradition of Urs, the birth or death anniversary celebration of a Dargah. So India has developed a unique tradition of Urs celebration. So Urs are held annually at Dargahs of the famous Sufi saints, Ajmer Sharif. You will find Ajmer Sharif is the Dargah of Sheikh Mainuddin Chishti. Their Urs festival is conducted. So here the people who come with a desire to get their wishes fulfilled, they now present a chadar. So they present a chadar on the mausoleum till today. So we find out that Urs festival at what we find out of the Sufi saints, it is another unique feature. Then we find out the other local festivals. Different localities, they have their own festival. For example, I can give you the example of the state of Orissa in India. It is situated on the eastern part of India, and it is famous for the temple of Lord Jagannath. I am sure you must have heard the name of temple of Jagannath. The place is called Puri, and there a unique festival is celebrated, the Car Festival. It is, the local name is Ratha Jatra. Jatra means the tour. The deities will tour to their own auntie's house on a chariot. In local language, it is called the Ratha Jatra. So for 8 days, they will leave the temple, two brother and one sister. In Jagannath temple, you will find out Jagannath is the youngest brother with his elder brother and younger sister. So two brother, one sister, they are worshipped in that temple, and they have this unique Ratha Jatra festival. And mind it, it has drawn the attention of the people all over the world, irrespective of its religious significance. So much of assemblage of people all over the India, they flock to this religious place. It is believed, if you will see the lords in their own respective vehicles or chariots, you will get much of, you will free from all sorts of sins. Anyhow, it is just a belief, but it is worth to be visited so far as its tourist significance is concerned. A must in Rath Yatra, you will have an idea about the cultural heritage of a region. My dear students, you see, I am not going to more and more details, it will confuse you. The socio-historical perspective, part 1, socio-historical perspective, part 2, I discussed in the first half of my discussion. Then customs, rituals, cults in India, fairs and festivals in India, we made, or I gave you brief outlines. Only 25 minutes more. I want to devote the rest time with having some interaction with you. I told you in yesterday's class, kindly go through the book what I have taught in today's class so that it will be fresh in your memory, and what the things will be unable to follow, you can ask me in course of your interaction with me. So the option is given to you. So let us have an interaction. Just, I want to interact with you. Any curiosity, any inquisitiveness you want to be clarified by me, you can ask so.
your expert solution at
Yes.
school, and I found the content both engaging and informative. I have a question to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. May I ask a question?
Huh. I can listen. You be
Okay,
louder.
ma'am.
Huh.
Okay, ma'am. So, please, ma'am, you discuss about marriages in India and different kind of religion in India. So, I would like to just ask this kind of question: how do interfaith marriages and relationships fare in Indian society? Interfaith marriages, and what challenges
How do
or
marriages?
acceptance do they encounter? The interfaith marriages. Maybe, for example,
Please, I could not. Others are making and
yeah,
talking with each other.
interfaith
Kindly
marriages,
maintain distance.
interfaith, marriage
Huh?
from different religions.
Marriage from? Huh.
I mean, how
I
do
can't hear you.
interfaith marriages,
In different
relationships,
religions, marriage relationship in different marriages. Sorry. Can you listen me now? Can you listen me? Am I audible?
yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
we can hear you. Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Huh. Now tell me.
I said,
You again repeat. I could
yeah,
not
my question
hear.
is
Huh.
that how do interfaith? Can you hear me now?
How do?
How do interfaith marriages? I mean, marriage from different religions. Marriage from different religions.
Hmm.
Like a Hindu
Yeah.
religious person, is he going to just marry someone from Sikh religion?
Yeah, yeah. I could follow. Marriage among different religions.
Yes.
How it is treated. How the marriage among different religions is being treated. So it depends upon the family members. Those who are having the liberal, broad bent of mind, there is no problem in accepting either the boy or the girl of a different religion, because you are marrying the person, not the religion. So it all depends with mentality. In my own family also, there are persons belonging to different religion. So husband is following his religion, wife is following her religion. But it is not possible in all cases where there are conservative families. So who are rigid in their religious outlook, they want to convert. They want to convert mainly, and here the man target is the woman. So the woman has to change the religion. And if at all they will change, then he will marry. And if he became very much very remain very adamant, no, I will not change the religion, God knows if the marriage will last or not. But there are inter-religious marriages in, and maximum of them they are living peacefully, not very problem. The whole thing is the acceptance of the society, acceptance of the family members. If it is the society in a remote corner of the country, there are some problems. The marriage may not be accepted. But within a liberal society, in a more urban society, in the metros, you will find out in high cities, there are no problems in marrying a people of different religion. It is, after all, a question of adjustment. But the question is, even if there is adjustment, the temperament of the society and the family members also it counts a lot. Because it counts a lot, they should be taken into consideration. But my own personal opinion is this: what I feel, marriage is an bonding, depends on your adjustment. And this bonding, what I feel, our tradition affirms it to be a bonding for life. So once you married means you are married for your life. But now it is fast changing. A divorce concept has come. So divorce is going on. A man or a girl is marrying 2 to 3 times. So things are changing. But the question is the question of adjustment. You try to adjust, and the family members, they should try to accept the person, the girl or the boy from different religion with magnanimity, with religious attitude. Any more question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the response. I'm really excited. Thank you for the response. And I have the next question. I have another question
Yeah.
for you. Okay, my question was like, how do young Indians view and interpret traditional religious practices and social norms in a rapidly changing world? You know, it is now the world is changing now. So how do young Indians look at this kind of traditional religious or something like social norms in India?
Traditional, you see, now we are in the ultra modern 21st century. So in the ultra modern 21st century, traditional, there is now this software, this robo culture, then this moon mission, sun mission, everything. So very, very ultra modern. But as you know, if your root is strong, everything will move in a smooth manner. I feel culture to be like a people tree, big people tree or banyan tree with deep roots, branches are surrounding it. So the Gen Next, naturally, they, to some extent, they are not prepared to accept the traditional values, the social norms of the society. But still then, while the Western world, and they try to follow the westernized modern concept, but the Westerners, they are realizing the traditional family life of the Indians. Indian family bonding, traditional family bonding, something it is worth which strengthens the family relationship, kinship relationship. So the modern group, very few among them, they have gone out of the way not to follow the tradition, but still then the majority group, they want to follow these traditional values. The majority is with the traditional values, a very few segment, those who try to go out of the segment, but in the long run also I have seen many cases, they are again trying to coming back to the roots, again trying to come back when they realized that all these outward the outward things are superficial and your effectiveness is there in the inner root, they are trying to come back, but there is definitely some deviation in the Gen Next or in the present generation, in the present day setup. Any thank you. Then any question? Did you go through the book yesterday's what I had taught you yesterday, that introducing Indian culture? No.
Sorry, ma'am, the problem is that
Kind.
our dashboard is not yet updated. So we don't have the new, I mean, the new manuals on our dashboard. We cannot be able to go through the manual.
So anything you want to ask me,
Yes,
please
our
note
LMS,
it down.
LMS.
Note it down so that.
Okay, okay.
So only Mr. Kabiru will ask, no other question from any other side? Any other side? Ahmad, then Nura, Lau. So if you will interact with me, I am not asking you, I am not telling you to ask me questions. I will write you the question now. Yes, write it. I will see. So the whole, if we will interact, so in the course of interaction, naturally things will be just imprinted on your memory. If you will interact with me, it will be fresh and imprinted on your memory because you have no idea about Indian culture. You are new in this field. So our interaction will help you to have further grasp on the subject and you can understand more and more. Am I clear? So, dear students, when I am talking you, Kanan, which local festival can you recommend to me if I want to visit India? If you want to visit India, the whole thing is which place you want to visit. My question is which place you want to visit. Different places have their own specific festivals, but just at this time if you want to visit India, because that Dasara festival is fast approaching, you must visit Bengal. Because as I told you, the heritage status has been attached to this Dasara festival for 4 days. There will be simply unique. You can see it in TV also. And if you want to have an idea, visit India in Deepavali, the festival of light. You can visit any place in India because everywhere it is celebrated. So you can get a very good idea. If not, you are not in a position to visit, you can see it in the TV also. Because our video is, our TV is there, you can see it in the channel, the specific channel, Indian channel, you can get a very good idea. And for you, the students who have enrolled in this course, it is essential. You must go through these festivals, you must see it in the video. It will be convenient for you to write on the answer script. Am I clear? So it will be convenient for you to write on the answer script if you see the things visually. Then what you are listening to me, it will be more effective through video or through your visual representation. Then especially the fairs and festivals, our LMS is not up to date, ma'am. You could not hear me? I think now you can hear? Yeah. So you 15 minutes more. We can hear you, ma'am. Yes. Then you see the you are not going to interact with me. What I found out anyhow. So the social structure, the first step after making you acquainted with Indian culture, we discussed the first step, that is social structure. The point of discussion in the next class will be on your fine arts. So that is the artistic domain of Indian culture. You know, culture is expressed through several ways, through literature, through science, through astronomy, astrology, then fine arts, then art and architecture, painting, handicraft, etc., etc. And fine arts is one among them. If you will try to express yourself or to go through the fine arts section, the Indian dance, Indian music, and Indian painting, I suggest to you to show that we can hear you earpiece. Tomorrow I shall do that. Tomorrow I shall do that. Anyhow, one earpiece I must do. It will help you because you are long away and I am talking you so much, and if you will not be in a position to hear me, all my efforts will be in vain, fruitless effort. The effort will be fruitless if you will not be in a position to hear me. Anyhow, I will help it. Then you tell me that the what is other things. You must, because you are not acquainted with the Indian social structure, you must try to go through the social structure in a very attentive manner, so that it will be helpful to give you proper idea on Indian culture. You see that these are the preparatory backgrounds. Actually, the work of tourism will start from fine arts, because the tourists, they like to visit the places of artistic importance, things of artistic importance, fairs and festivals. So this is the background, society is the background, and I told you history is the background. History and society is the background we discussed in the previous class, and
Yes, we
yesterday's
ma'am.
class, today's class, and from coming class, that's dance, music, and painting, it will take a very concrete shape. But I am feeling very disheartened that you are not, what, you are not interacting with me. Your interaction will
Please,
prompt
where
me.
do you stay? Where do you stay in India, ma'am? Where do you stay in India?
My state is Odisha. I am talking from Odisha. The capital is Bhubaneswar, and I am talking from Bhubaneswar. It is in the eastern part of India, nearer to Kolkata. It is nearer to Kolkata. So you can see the map today. And there, I am from Orissa. I told you about the temple of Jagannath. So I belong to the land of Jagannath, and from there, I am giving you this, I am taking your online class from the capital of the state, Bhubaneswar. Therefore, I am talking you much about Orissa, that Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, about Bengal, etc. They also, this side, this is on the eastern side of India. It is nearer to Bay of Bengal. It is nearer to Bay of Bengal. The state is on the coast of the Bay of Bengal. So, not on one side of India, and therefore, but I am giving you the entire picture of India. India, Pakistan, and the northeastern Afghanistan, the entire area, plus Bangladesh. This entire vast mass of territory was India in ancient time. So now, in modern time, it has been trifurcated. Madam, hello ma'am, I am from Bhubaneswar too. Shreya Samantarai. Hi. You are not asking any questions, Shreya? Why are you not asking? Please ask me something. I found out one student, she wrote me, she is from Bhubaneswar. So I feel elated. I am happy you ask me any question. I am having some issues, mic issues. Anyhow, hey, all right. So be prepared for tomorrow's class. Ask me questions. We will interact, and that will be a very interesting session. So, sure, ma'am. Your question to you, vegetarian, ma'am. My question to you. So I am a non-veg. So she asked me the question, what is whether you are veg or non-veg? I am a non-veg. So I am staying on the coast of sea. So naturally, because I am staying in a sea coast, so we are favorite coastal belt people. We are fond of fish. Then, any question? So let me carry on for coming 10 minutes, that this paper will help you. The Indian culture, as I told you, it is very vast and very extensive. So it is to have a glance of Indian culture. So the very first thing that I pointed you earlier is the geography. So kindly go through the map of India. So once you will go through the map of India, you will be acquainted with the geography of India. Naturally, you can follow the history, the social structure in a very, from Nigeria. Anyhow, so you can follow it. So the students are sending me in writing their name and their place to which they belong. I am very happy. So let us interact so that we can develop a sort of academic co-relationship. You can ask me, I can clarify your doubts. It is a matter of 8 classes, 2 hours, with a duration of 2 hours. So out of which 4 hours is gone, 12 hours we will be there. So during this stay or a lecture of 2 hours, the interaction will make it more easy. Your accept truly shown. Anyhow, so my dear students, so this culture, not only Indian culture, to what extent, from the perspective of tourism, this Indian culture will be relevant from tourist point of view. That is our focus of attention. Only by reading Indian culture is not enough. Indian culture is not enough. It should be followed by the point that to what extent by reading Indian culture we can make from our tourist enterprises more and more fruitful. You see, tourism is now a very fast going industry in the modern day world. The modern day lifestyle, as you know, the fast moving lifestyle, and people always want a change in the weekend and even in the year end, and even weekend in the, suppose there is long vacation, so they want to visit the places of tourist importance. And this tourism is of different types. One may like to visit natural places, others may like the historical places, the museums and the archives. The others may like the religious places. So different types of places are there, and there what you will do? So unless and until you are acquainted with the background, you cannot follow it properly. Am I clear? So dear students, my suggestion to you all, so please be acquainted with the topic, interact with me. Your interaction with me will help me to deliver my lecture on Indian culture in a more and more fruitful way. So dear students, only time is getting short. So class is going to be closed, and what I taught you in today's class, I feel or I want that it should be imprinted on your memory if you go through the book at tonight. So your tonight look at the book, the study of the book will imprint the today's class memory in your brain, and when examination will come, if you will go through the book again, that memory which had become in a faded form, again it will be fresh. So dear students, what's more to write? Kabiru, any question or anything? No. The
No,
hostess
ma'am.
nodded
I
yes.
really enjoy your presentation, ma'am. So it's really interesting. And the reason why I suggest you should use the earpiece is that because you can hear us
Yes,
without
I
any
shall
writing,
try
something
from
like that.
tomorrow's class. I shall try
Thank you,
from
ma'am.
tomorrow's
So
class.
we can interact more tomorrow then. Yes, yes,
Yeah. Thank you all,
yes, ma'am.
my dear students.
Thank you.
A very, very good afternoon again to you all. Thank you
So have a
for
good day.
giving me a patient hearing. Welcome.